Good morning, everyone. It's great to be at the Jerusalem Post Annual Conference every year, and I'm here almost every year. But for me, this year is even better because, seriously, it's such a relief to be in New York without having to breathe the toxic air of the UN headquarters. Yeah. And trust me, this city feels completely different when you're surrounded by friends of Israel instead of all the liars and hypocrites of the UN. Friends, we currently face historic days of reckoning. Will there be a deal? Will total victory become reality or just a slogan? Will Iran face consequences or, God forbid, another nuclear deal? But before I address these points, I want to share with you the most significant takeaway from my tenure as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations. There's no polite way to put this. To secure the free world's future, we must dismantle the UN, simply eradicate it. The United Nations is beyond reform, it's beyond repair. The institution created to prevent atrocities after the Holocaust now protects genocidal regimes. But how did it happen? Simple. I'll explain. The UN was founded 80 years ago with only 51 nations sharing common values after the Holocaust, after Second World War. Today, dear friends, it's comprised of 193 members. And you know who are they, the new members? A third of them, Muslim countries. They always vote together. Most of the countries in the UN, non-democracies. All have the same voting power, the same voting rights, regardless of size, regardless of human rights records. So what is the result? Staggering moral distortions. Israel, dear friends, the Middle East's only democracy, receives every year, you know how many condemnations? 70% of the UN's condemnations every year. But Iran, they chaired nuclear disarmament committee and human rights forums while building centrifuges. It's not a joke. Cuba and Somalia right now sit on the Human Rights Council as their citizens suffer. And at the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, a Lebanese judge presided over genocide charges against Israel while we were at war with Lebanon. And friends, the most disturbing question, who funds this moral bankruptcy? Who funds it? Yes, you do. You do. The American taxpayer today funds $19 billion of the UN's $74 billion annual budget, 26%. You are paying for our enemies to destroy Israel and the US. The solution, friends, isn't reform. It's replacement. President Trump pulled out of UNESCO, he pulled out of the Human Rights Council, and he, thank God, defunded UNRWA. Now we must finish the job. Defund the UN completely and establish a new league of democracies that upholds our values. As we reshape global institutions, we cannot ignore the transformation in our region. Despite our war achievements since October 7th, thank God, and the IDF, challenges remain. Hamas still persists. Anti-Semitism spreads. 58 hostages still suffer in Gaza tunnels. And most concerning of all, there are some who are beginning to cast doubt on the ironclad alliance between Israel and the United States. Friends, I believe that leaders must be bold and sincere, to tell the truth. especially when it comes to our friends. And when I say our friends, I mean President Trump. Look, President Trump has been among Israel's greatest champions in American history, and we will always be profoundly grateful to him. Yet, some now feel that President Trump is shaping a Middle East strategy with Israel no longer at its center. As steadfast allies, even the slightest shift concerns us. As president, advancing American interest will always be at the forefront, and rightfully so. And sometimes economic gains for America may come at the expense of Israel's interests, as we've seen recently. But we must also remember, a stronger America means also a stronger Israel. Yet, just as America must put her own interest first, so too must Israel. Yeah. And when our closest friends may be making a mistake, we must speak truth. So I have two important requests for President Trump in the name of so many people who deeply appreciate him. On Iran, now is not the time for another deal that will fail. Now is the time to strike while Iran is weak. Any deal with Iran isn't worth the paper it's on. The Ayatollah regime will simply lie or wait for a new administration before advancing their nuclear program. We need decisive action. Bring down the Ayatollahs. Chart a new path for a free Iran. No more kicking the can down the road. And when it comes to Qatar, those terrorists in suits, I need to respectfully raise a concern. While I appreciate President Trump's commitment to creating economic prosperity, we must not lose sight of our guiding values. Gifts from those who bankrolled October 7th, promote anti-Israel incitement and support terror must raise a red flag. So, Mr. President, I turn to you and I urge you, don't let Qatar whitewash their crimes. Don't accept their plane. The plane carrying the leader of the free world is a symbol of the sacred values that we fight to uphold. It must not be tarnished by the funders of jihad. Mr. President, your administration has always stood alongside Israel against terror. We are not just allies. We are brothers in arms who must face evil together. Unwavering and uncompromising. This is our North Star. Friends, even with all the uncertainty, tragedy, and challenges we face, there is one constant bright light of hope amid this darkness. And this has been the actions of our own people. We have witnessed the rise of a generation of lions. Our soldiers fighting across 7 fronts, our reservists who left behind careers and families, the resilient communities of the North and South, and of course, our warriors in white, the paramedics of Magen David Adom who race towards danger to save lives even under fire. Yeah, they deserve your applause. This is why, after 4 years at the evil UN, I chose to channel my devotion into an organization of pure good, Magen David Adom, because saving lives is the purest expression of who we are as a people. Magen David Adom doesn't only save lives, we directly combat the strategy of our enemies. When Hamas and Hezbollah attack our home front, their goal, we have to understand it, their goal is to break our spirit and drive us from our homeland in fear. And targeting our life-saving teams is part of this monstrous strategy to terrorize our people. But with every life we save, we send a clear message to the enemy. We will not be broken. Yeah. And when it comes to our mission, Magen David Adom is always at the forefront. We've built the world's most advanced fortified underground blood bank. Our dispatch center uses AI to field thousands of emergency calls during attacks. And we are spread across every point in Israel, equipped with the most advanced equipment in the world. From armored ambulances in dangerous areas, Judea and Samaria and the borders, to state-of-the-art helicopters, speedy mopeds, and so much more. But what truly makes Magen David Adom special is how it embodies Israel's unity. You know, a shift change when it starts at any Mada, a Magen David Adom station, looks like a beginning of a classic joke. You see a rabbi, you see a Muslim Arab, you see a Druze and a hipster get together into an ambulance in order to save lives. That's our unity. That's what we exemplify. Our 32,000 volunteers from Sderot to Samaria come from every background, every belief, every political persuasion, united by one sacred mission: to save lives. And since October 7th, our paramedics have demonstrated unimaginable courage, treating the wounded under fire, sometimes making the ultimate sacrifice. Dozens of our paramedics and volunteers were killed while saving lives. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists had specific instructions to target our ambulances. We found it on the Nukhba bodies. They know what we represent. They wanted to ensure that for the wounded, help never came. Magen David Adom is not just an emergency service. It is the backbone of Israel's national resilience. When terror strikes, when missiles fall, Mada is there, ensuring that no Israeli stands alone. We are Israel's only national emergency medical service. Friends, with the help of our supporters, we continue this sacred work. By strengthening Magen David Adom, you are strengthening Israel's resilience. As we face this pivotal moment in Jewish history, remember, we are the people who save life, who defy death, who heal even as we bleed. So let's show our support and appreciation to the tens of thousands of Magen David Adom personnel and volunteers that have committed their lives to saving others. They all deserve a very big round of applause. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, friends, one last thing. Today, we have with us one of the most inspiring and resilient paramedics I've ever known, Adham Safadi from Majd al-Shams. In a moment, you will hear Adham's moving and gut-wrenching story. His story, as I said, exemplifies the unwavering commitment to life that defines not just Magen David Adom, but Israel itself. Even in our darkest hour, we choose life. Even amid sorrow, we heal others. This is Adham's story.
Every time I come here, I recall everything that happened that minute, and it was very, very sad. I lost my daughter at the soccer field. This is my daughter with all her friends, 12 stars who fell on July 27th when the field was hit by a missile. When I entered, this is the first place I came to. I saw my daughter lying on the grass here, not breathing, lifeless. I stood beside her, then fell to the ground and asked her forgiveness for not being able to help her. I had friends here beside me. I asked them to bring blankets to cover the child, and then we heard screams. I said, I need to take a deep breath. There are still children screaming on the soccer field, needing help. And for me, MDA is in the blood. The first ones I reached were dead, unrecognizable. I left them and found a severely wounded child with massive bleeding from his leg. I applied a tourniquet and stopped the bleeding. Soon, all the MDA medical teams arrived, and then I stayed by my daughter's side until they took her from the field. My family took it very hard, because I would always tell them, nothing will happen to us. This is my wife, Inaya.
When I look at the children, I see that there are 12 children missing. I look every morning and cry about the situation we've reached. They just want to play.
We believe in reincarnation. We believe in fate. That this is what God wrote for us. This is our fate. But our fate didn't let us continue this dream.
Please welcome Adam Sfadi to the stage. He will receive the Jerusalem Post Award from Ambassador Gilad Erdan, Global President of Magen David Adom, and Tzvika Klein, Editor-in-Chief of the Jerusalem Post, for his unwavering commitment, extraordinary courage, and devotion to saving lives in the face of unimaginable personal loss.